Love is the strongest magnetic force in the universe. Each time we choose love, we enjoy life more. Each time we choose love, we enhance the quality of our life. Each time we choose love, life seems brighter and clearer. Love heals. Love soothes. Love elevates. Love forgives. Love gives us hope. Love brings us joy and abundance. Love makes us grow. Love feels good. Love makes life colorful. We are all here to learn about love, to love yourself more, and therefore others. Real love is selfless and free from fear. It's joy in the pain. Love more. Love is the thing that makes all things beautiful. Speaking of love,
what an incredible way to honor her father and help others heal from the loss of a loved one due to suicide.
Welcome to Speaking of Love, the podcast, and I am your host, Latoya. I created this podcast in honor of my dad, who was an amazing guy. He had an infectious laugh, and his spirit was magnetic. He was the type of guy who made everybody feel like somebody special. If you were to place him in a crowded room of 100 people, my dad would be the smartest person in the entire room. He was an award-winning radio TV broadcast engineer for many years. Born and raised in the city of Detroit, he was one of the first to go to college in his family. And while attending Wayne State University, he developed a lifelong love affair with the game of basketball. He was the shortest point guard on the team, but he could slam dunk the basketball with either hand. By all outward appearances, my dad lived a rewarding life, but there were parts of him that were known to only him. On March 2nd of 2020, my dad's private struggles became public when he took his own life in a murder-suicide. When he died, a part of me died too. And since the tragedy, I have become an advocate for mental health awareness and suicide prevention. I also created this beautiful podcast in honor of my dad and others like him who are struggling with the effects of mental health challenges. My podcast, Speaking of Love, is named after a show my dad once hosted called Speaking of Sports. Thank you for taking the time to be here with me today as we take a journey in pursuit of the strongest magnetic force on the planet Earth, and that's love. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Speaking of Love, the podcast. I am your host, Latoya, and today I have a beautiful young lady here by the name of Susanna Rickman. I am so happy to have her this Saturday. This is episode 154. I can't believe it's been that long. Let me tell you a little bit about this trailblazer we have here today. Susanna is a Michigan native with over 2 decades of mental health experience, primarily focusing on crisis services and suicide pre- and post-vention services. Currently, Susanna works with Volunteers of America Michigan as a case manager for their SSG Fox SERV program supporting veterans at risk of suicide. And she is the lead co-facilitator of Kevin Song's monthly virtual suicide loss survivors support group. Thank you for being here, Susanna. Everyone help me welcome this beautiful trailblazer.
And me.
Good morning. How are you today, Susanna?
I am doing all right. How about yourself? The weather's great here. I don't know how it is over there.
You know what? It's good here in Detroit. Are you in Kalamazoo?
I am in Kalamazoo. Yes, I am.
Okay, you were there in Kalamazoo. Susanna and I have a connection. We both facilitate the Kevin Song Suicide Loss Survivor Support Group. She's the lead facilitator. I am a co-facilitator of the group, and she and I have known each other for a few years now. And I appreciate you, Susanna, for accepting my invitation to be here on the podcast. As you know, this platform is very sacred to me, and I'm very careful and intentional about who I allow into this space. And for you to be here today, I am truly honored to have you.
I'm honored right back that you asked me to be on it. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So let's talk a little bit about you, the work that you're doing. Tell me about you and your life and how things started out for you as a young lady. What was life like for you coming up as a young girl?
You know, people ask me stuff like that all the time. I don't have a lot of memories of when I was a child. I'm not really sure. I kind of go back to a certain age, and that's where I have the memories. I am the youngest of 3 children. My brother, the middle child, my brother Brett, is 10 years older than me. And then my oldest brother, Scott, was 13 years older than me. So I was raised almost like an only child, but like the baby, but the only girl. So I was very well protected. We'll put it that way. Definitely had men following, making sure I was in safe spaces and being treated right. So I loved my mother and father very, very much. And what I do remember of my childhood is really good. So, you know, I went to school to be a teacher, and ended up in a short-term position in a crisis facility. Found that was my calling. So I started working more in it, and then I lost my oldest brother to suicide.
Uh-oh, you're frozen there, Susanna. Uh-oh, you're back now. For some reason.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You were frozen for a second. So unfortunately, you were called into this work. You lost your brother to suicide.
Yes. And so it just kind of really opened things up for me. I also am a suicide attempt survivor. I did attempt suicide when I was younger. So it's something that's been apparently in our family, but more of a secret. And we didn't really talk about it. That's why we need to talk about these things.
Yes, you know, and the thing about suicide prevention and being advocates and being a voice for the voiceless, most of us who do this type of work, we're called into this work because of a special connection. Either we've lost someone to suicide that we love that's very close to us, or we're impacted by it some type of way. So this type of work usually comes unexpectedly. We're kind of drawn into it and called to it. And that's where you are right now, Susanna. And you're amazing. You are truly a trailblazer for people. And what I love about this work is I love meeting and connecting with people who have dedicated their lives to enhancing the lives of other people. That is the main reason that we're here on this earth, is to serve humanity and to help one another. And so you've lost your brother and you've turned your pain into a greater purpose. And I truly admire that.
Thank you. Yes, you can live in your sorrow and your anger and your frustration, or you can choose to be active and do something about it. So again, the more we talk about it, the less stigma there'll be, and hopefully it'll positively impact more people.
Yeah, definitely. So working at the crisis center, tell me a little bit about what that was like for you.
And I've worked at a couple different crisis centers. The one I started out in was step down from inpatient treatment. It was for people that didn't need to be in a hospital setting, but weren't quite ready to be released into their own home. And so it was very difficult at times. I had some people going through some stuff, let me tell you. They also would put people there. Sometimes we had someone who was going through some of intensive treatment. And so they would put people there so that they would be safe and have eyes on with them. And that really ignited my fire. My mom hated it. She was scared to death that something was going to happen to me, but I loved it. So that was my first crisis experience. Then I moved into case management, and I did case management for a while. I also then moved to another crisis center in our area and was a worker for 988. And it's interesting that you say people that do this work, it's a calling. I tell people all the time when they're like, I'm not calling 988. I say to them, I promise you, these people are not getting paid a lot. They are there because they want to be there. Every single one of those workers has their own story, and they all care. And the goal is not to call 911 and have you picked up. The goal is to keep you safe for the day. Mm-hmm. So that was an amazing experience. I ended up moving into the management position and running the lower half of Michigan's 988 and a handful of community mental health after-hour lines. So that was another whole crisis, being on call a lot, getting calls in the middle of the night for things, debriefing your staff. That was another thing. And that was kind of where I made the decision. This is where I'm going to dedicate my life. This is where I want to be. And I was fortunate enough to move then into a suicide prevention manager position. And that encompassed 6 programs that I oversaw and really allowed me to have a voice and to experience things I hadn't experienced before in this realm of suicide pre and post-vention. So it's been a minute and I've been around.
Wow, I love that. Would you consider yourself a lifesaver?
I try. In fact, one of my goals, I asked once I go to therapy because everybody needs therapy. And was asked at one point what my goal is, why I do what I do. And my decision was, or answer after I thought about it, was that I want to save at least one life a day. And I want to be known as an expert in this area. And so those are my reasons. That's my why. I don't ever want someone to sit and get a call that I got. I want them to get a call that, guess what? I'm pregnant. I'm getting married, things like that. So I really hope that I save at least one life a day. I definitely.
Wonderful. So Susanna, what do you love most about the work that you're doing in terms of touching people's lives? What do you love most about the work?
It fills my bucket a lot. I had a boss who used to say, you can't pour from an empty glass. And I used to say, my tears fill the glass. And it's kind of true though, because the work that I do isn't easy, but it is definitely work that makes me feel better and makes me feel like I'm able to make a difference in this world. One of the other projects that I'm on, I'm a co-lead for our local loss team, which is local outreach to suicide survivors. And so we get dispatched by victim services, or we work with the medical examiner's office, things like that. And we go on scene, or we'll go after the scene, depending on timing. And we spend time with those people that are left. And we help them make their new focus and help them to move forward in what's going on. And that's an important thing. These people are in the most vulnerable state of their life, and they welcome us into their homes, welcome us into their lives, and they share deep, dark secrets with us, and that is so powerful. That is an amazing thing. And it touches me every time. I feel it's a gift to be able to do that service for our community.
You've definitely been called into this work by a higher power. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So Susanna, what other programs are you going to be coming up with? I know you've got some things you're working on for the future. Do you have anything going on that you'll be involved in coming up soon that you want to mention?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head that I can actually bring out there yet. You know how we got to have a few secrets in our pockets.
Sure, sure.
Um, I will say that with Volunteers of America, Michigan, the fact that we have now me on staff, I train several different suicide prevention and education programs. And so, as an agency, we are, well, as a team, we are implementing more suicide prevention trainings. And we're able to offer those in a community that doesn't have a lot of resources and doesn't have a lot of that. So that's kind of my thing right now is I keep saying to my boss, can I train there? Can we go there? Can I go there? So that has been great. One of my prior position, I oversaw our trainings, but it's different to be, overseeing them and putting people into the spots to do it than it is to be the one that's called regularly. We want you. And that's just such an amazing feeling.
Wow. Another thing that I really love about you, Susanna, is that when you and I are co-facilitating the support group for Kevin's song, you take us into, we have like different segments. So almost at the very end of the segment, you take us into an area where we meditate, or it's kind of like I want to call it yoga, or just you free us from the burdens of the day and you help us unwind and come down from having such an intense session. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and your work in that regard?
Sure. I can tell you that wasn't an original idea from me. I actually borrowed it from somebody else. This is not the first support group that I've facilitated. I used to facilitate another one as well. And that was something that was done prior to me. And I just really, really liked it. And then when I came into doing Kevin's song, I had a prior co-facilitator who really liked it and would do them in the beginning and the end. So I talked to our group and I said, what do you prefer? Do you want them beginning and ending? Do you want just beginning, just ending? And as a collective, they said, we really like that at the end. So we adjusted things and made it part of what our group does now. So it wasn't just me. It was a community, and it was a decision that was made as a group.
It's really beneficial for us because after being online, we're doing it virtually. After being online for an hour and a half, speaking about loss and grief, you do need a way to transcend back into your regular day or your regular time. And just to be able to come down, meditate, relax, release, and just be able to go forward. I love it. I love the way you run the facility. You facilitate the group. You do an amazing job and you really help us. And what I also love is the way you have the unique ability of making all of us feel safe. Talking about suicide loss can put you in a position to be judged or criticized, and people don't really understand. There's a lot of negative stigma behind suicide, but you have a way of making all of us feel safe in that moment, and that's just wonderful.
I try, so I'm glad to know that. I will say that I can't take all the credit, Latoya. You add an awful lot to our group as well, so we're lucky to have you as well. We're lucky to have us as a team.
Well, yes, we're a team, and this interview is about Susanna Rickman. I know you lost your brother to suicide. If you're comfortable doing so, can you tell us a little bit about your brother and who he was?
I kind of may get upset because it's talking about someone you lost. I did not know him super well. He went into the military when I was in kindergarten. And he was a United States Marine Corps person, and he was overseas. He was in England for most of the time. So I went to go visit him with my mother, but I didn't spend a lot of time with him. Mm-hmm. And then I was fortunate enough, he moved to California, and he had some friends. He was an attorney, and he had friends that were independently wealthy, and they would travel once a month. And so once a year, I was able to go spend a month in California house sitting for them. And I got to really spend time with him. Wow. And that was when I really got to know him. And I got to know more about him and what he was about. And see, you're going to make me cry. I told you you're going to make me cry. And, he was a great man. I remember one of my memories of when I'd visit we go across the Golden Gate because they lived in the city and then they moved out to East Bay. And he would always pay the toll for the person behind him.
Oh.
And one day, and he'd say, hey, this is for my friend behind me. And one day I said, why do you say my friend? He's like, well, I want him to make sure that they get their free tow. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. They'll get their free tow if they think they're getting it. But that's something that I've taken and tried to pay forward myself and do at places almost in honor of him.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Susanna, I want you to know that my father, the anniversary of my father's death was March 2nd. He died March 2nd of 2020. And I remember I mentioned that date in one of our sessions, our support group sessions. I mentioned that date. And on March 2nd, which was earlier this month, I was driving to work and I got a text message from you. And you just said, I hope you're having a great day, sunshine, keep your head up or what have you. And I knew what that meant. You didn't mention anything about my dad, but I knew what that message meant. And so I appreciate you for remembering the date, the anniversary. And I appreciate you for reaching out to me during that time because, anniversary, those days can really be tough on us. So I just appreciate you for thinking of me on that day and remembering me and being the first person to acknowledge. I think I don't even think it was 8 o'clock in the morning. It might have been about 7
early.
something around that time. But thank you for what you do.
Absolutely. He deserves to be remembered and you deserve to be supported while you're dealing with that. So yeah, absolutely. And I threw a little joke in there too. I had to throw a little joke in at you.
Don't hit my
something. Well, I'm sorry.
You said something about don't hit my ride or don't hit anybody's ride. Yeah, it's an inside joke.
It is an inside joke. Maybe she'll share it with you guys one day. That's why you should keep listening so that you can hear it someday.
Yeah.
That's something that we do with the Lost team, and that's something I try to do with the support group. When someone reaches out to Kevin's song to be a part of the support group, I reply to them, and I have a standard reply that everyone gets. But one thing I always offer is a phone call if they just want to chat. When someone's reaching out for help, they don't know what they're doing. I mean, let's be honest. We don't go to school and learn what to do when our loved one takes their life. It's just not what we're taught. And so I like to offer that so that they have a safe place that they can talk to, and I can find out what resources they might need or any referrals, things like that we could do to support them. So it comes from my grandma, I think.
Yes, thank you. Susanna, if there is someone watching this podcast right now or listening to the podcast and they're at the end of their rope, they want to give up on life, suicide is a prevalent thought in their mind, what words of encouragement would you give them to help them stay?
When I took 988 calls, obviously I got calls like that quite frequently. And I would always ask them, do you really want to die? Like you're done? Or you just want the pain to stop? And I never, knock on wood, had anyone ever say, well, I just really want to die. So they're kind of, like you said, they're back and forth. They're on the fence. They don't know what to do. But you're not alone. You are certainly not alone. There are so many people out there that care and that matter. And I think a lot of people don't understand when someone dies, 137, I think is the current number, don't quote me, people are touched by that death. From the first responders to the funeral home to the, people that are doing the sermon, all that. There's many, many people that are touched by that. And that's because those people care. You may not see the people behind the scenes that care, but people care. Mm-hmm. And so you're not alone. And if you don't have anyone to call, I would say, call me. Call 988. Again, I know people get all fussy about 988, but it really, a few bad apples have put some stuff out there that's not 100% true. So pick up that phone and call 988. They're there because they want to talk to you. I promise you, no one is there because it's a job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely have to have a special calling on your heart to do that type of work. And then, like you mentioned, it's not about money because they don't get paid a lot for doing that.
Oh, no.
a labor of love. Like I like to call it a labor of love.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to post the 988 number here. If anyone is feeling suicidal, if you need someone to talk to, just call 988, just like you would dial 911 in a medical emergency or what have you. Call 988. There are trained professionals there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're here to help you. Just give them a call. Don't be afraid. Just open up. And they may not be able to solve whatever crisis you're going through at that moment, but they can take you by the hand and guide you down the path of help. So please call 988. Your existence here on earth has a divine purpose, and you matter. You are loved. You are loved. And what I do know about life and circumstances is we go through waves in life. You know, some periods in our lives are just very, very difficult. They're very hard. It's like you can't see through the tunnel of it, but just know that things pass on, and you just have to stay awake and stay around just a little bit longer and hold on to the hope and faith that things will get better.
I want to throw out there too that it is a suicide and crisis line. So if you're in crisis and not to that point yet, you can give them a call. Absolutely. They are there to talk to you. And what's a crisis to you might not be a crisis to me, but the same thing, what's a crisis to me may not be a crisis to you. So don't hesitate. If you're a friend and you're worried about somebody, 988 can talk to you and help you step through what needs to be done for you to be able to support your friend. So 988 is an invaluable resource that needs to be utilized more for what it is.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for saying that, Susanna. Yes, people can call if you just need someone to talk to. You don't have to be suicidal, like she said. Just give them a call. Reach out for the help. That's the best.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We had what we called familiar voices, the people that we talk to regularly. And, you know, I'll tell you, some of those people, I might be off for a week and I'd come and I'd be like, so what's going on with, and I'd get a catch up. Because these people are like our friends, you know, and they're not, but that's how we get to know them. So yes, I can't say enough great things about 988.
Yes, you develop connections with those individuals. You know, Susanna, when a person loses someone they love by suicide, it changes your life forever. It changes the way you live, the way you look at the world. It really changes the trajectory of your life in good ways and in bad. What is the biggest lesson you have learned about yourself since the passing of your brother?
Probably that I'm stronger than I think I am. People always say the strongest person I know, and I'm like, oh no, you should see me when you're not around. But you know what? That's how I process. And so that is a healthy thing instead of just holding on to it. So I think probably I've learned I'm way stronger than I ever thought I was.
Yes, you are. You are strong. You know, this podcast here is called Speaking of Love, because love is the thing that makes all things beautiful. And when my father passed away, the night of the tragedy, I knew that I wanted to do something to honor him because I had known him all of my life. And I knew that I did not want him to die with that news story being the last publication about my father. So when he died, I wanted to do something special for him. And my father was a radio TV broadcast engineer for WXYZ Channel 7 News. He loved being on the radio. He started his career at WGPR. So he was always behind the camera and he was always speaking publicly. And he used to have a radio show many years ago called Speaking of Sports. So when he died, I wanted to do something to honor him. I don't know anything about sports, but I wanted to do a podcast like his radio show, Speaking of Sports, but my platform is Speaking of Love. So the $1 million question I ask every person who sits before me, Susanna, is how do you define love? Speaking of love.
You know, the biggest thing for me with love is that it's unconditional. That you may be 100% on that day for the one that you love and you may not. And so loving someone is loving someone unconditionally and loving in general and showing up and being there. And sometimes it means holding a hand out for someone to help pick them up. Sometimes it means getting real. I have a friend right now that I needed an accountability partner and for something I'm doing. And I said, next time I'm picking someone who's not as accountable. So you know what I mean? But she's my friend. So she's on me about it. So yeah, just we should love on everyone.
Mm-hmm. Love is the thing that makes all things beautiful. And, before we are anything else in life, we are humans, and humans need love, just like you need water to survive and nutrients to live in your body. Love is what keeps us alive. It's the heartbeat of life, love. And so I emphasize that a lot because it's what's important. And my father had a big heart. He was a loving man, but he was a troubled man. But no matter what he was going through in his life, you always knew that there was a place of love in his heart for you, for the people that he was connected to in any way. So speaking of love, that's my main focus here.
I love that too, and it shows with you. Sorry, Vito is asleep next to me. It shows that you love all, and that's what you want to do. One of my favorite things about you is that you bring positivity and brightness. I love it when I have to talk to you or something because I'm like, yes, it makes everybody's day better. And you know what? If you can let someone else have a better day, you've done your work.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the true way to feeling better within your own self. I have a lot of days where I feel down and I feel like I have a big potato sack on my shoulder weighing me down. But what helps me feel better is when I'm out in the world and I'm out in public, just one small gesture or saying hello to someone or saying hi or being kind to others, it makes me feel better. So in helping and being loving to others, you, in essence, elevate your own self-esteem for the day,
My motto is, and it's in my office, it's in my home office, it's in my office at work too. It says, we rise by lifting others.
Yes.
And that is pretty much what I live by. And honestly, our symbol for our loss team is 3 hot air balloons. The big balloon represents the community and us. The little balloon inside of that one represents the family. And then the little balloon, I actually have it sitting right here, represents the person that we've lost. Oh. And we give these to our people. And they don't have anything written on them or anything, but that came from my co-lead being in my house and seeing my sign and going, what about a hot air balloon? And it just kind of went from there. But yeah, I live by, we rise by lifting others.
Wow. And and what I get from the image that you just showed me is that in losing that one person, we grow, we expand.
Yes.
Yeah, we come back greater.
I might feel that from you.
Yes. So Susanna, I have really enjoyed our talk here. Is there anything that you want to share with the audience today that we haven't talked about?
Not anything. We've talked about a lot. The biggest thing is that you're not alone. You're not alone. And reach out to somebody. It doesn't matter if it's a stranger on the street. Reach out to somebody. And if you don't know what to do, if somebody reaches out to you, reach out for support. It's not all on you.
Yes, definitely. Susanna Rickman, when the pages of your life are reviewed and your mission here on the planet Earth is complete, what do you most want to be remembered for?
I guess I want to be remembered for being there, for showing up and speaking up.
Well, you have already achieved that intention because you do exactly that every single day. Just like you showed up for me on the 6th anniversary of my father's death, March 2nd of 2026, you texted me in the morning and you let me know that you were there as a sign of solidarity, that you were there to support me. And I really appreciate you for doing that.
I appreciate you too.
Yes. And I think now will be a good time for me to tell the audience about the joke, because part of the message that you left me was don't hit anybody's ride while you're out there. Well, what she was referring to is my father didn't have a driver's license for many years because of personal reasons and things like that. So many years after not being able to drive, he finally got a vehicle. He finally got a car, a gray Kia Soul. He loved that car. He worshiped that car. That was his baby. And so when he first got the car, he called me and he goes, Latoya, you got to come over here. You got to see my ride. I got a new ride. Come on over and see my ride. And I go, okay, I'll come over. So when I went over to his apartment, the gray Kia Soul was sitting in the driveway, and he's like, come on in, check out my ride. So he shows me his car and all that. So as I'm leaving a couple hours later, when I left his apartment, he's standing in the door and he's waving goodbye to me. And then he yells out as I'm backing out of the driveway, hey, don't hit my ride. Don't hit my ride. So fast forward, the night of the tragedy, on the news, when they were reporting the murder-suicide, the news reporter was outside of my dad's home, and in the driveway was that gray Kia Soul. So whenever I see a gray Kia Soul on the road, of course, I feel a connection. I look at it as a bigger, sign from my dad. But I always make the joke, don't hit my ride. Don't hit my ride. So when Susanna texted me on my dad's anniversary of his death, she said, make sure you don't hit anybody's ride out there. So that meant the world to me. So, because of that comment at 7:00 in the morning, I had a great day. It wasn't a sad, depressing day. So thank you for showing up for me, Susanna. I really appreciate that. And I did not hit anybody's ride.
That's good. That's good.
So if you
some humor in there,
Yeah. So if anyone listening, if you drive a gray Kia Soul, I love you 20 times more just for the fact that you have the same vehicle my dad was crazy about. Yes. So thank you. So thank you so much for being here, Susanna. I have enjoyed our conversation. You are an amazing woman. You are a woman of many gifts and talents, but the biggest asset I see in you is your heart, and you have a heart of love, and you have extended your heart to making the lives of other people better. And I appreciate that. So thank you for being here on Speaking of Love. Susanna, if anyone is interested in reaching out to you for help or assistance, how can they connect with you?
You know what? I will tell you the easiest way to reach me is on Facebook. My Facebook is public, so anybody can go to it. And it is my first name, my last name, obviously. There's no hidden anything on there. When you see the picture, you'll know it's me because it's the picture you used. And yeah, feel free. I post things on there randomly, and I get messages from people regularly wanting to ask me a question or something like that. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Susanna. And this will conclude my 154th episode of Speaking of Love, the podcast. I will be back next month with another amazing guest. So I hope to see you all then. But until then, take care of yourself and remember that love is the thing that makes all things beautiful. Have a great weekend, everyone.